Welcome to week 4 of EED 675 Bilingual and Multilingual Teaching Strategies. So, for the last few weeks, we have been examining the new ELD/ELA Common Core standards that we are currently using in the state of California. We started exploring a few things. First, we just familiarized ourselves with the new stages of ELD development, and we said that those are the emerging, expanding, and bridging. Now, today, what we are going to do is lay the theoretical foundation and apply that to the new ELD standards. In other words, these standards don't just come from anywhere, right? These are research-based and theoretically grounded standards. So let's think about a few things. We said that in these new standards, there are several modes of communication that are valued: the interpretive, the collaborative, and the productive. Now, there are several theories that you will read about this week that really emphasize why it is important for English language learners to have opportunities for collaboration, that also they need to have extremely intellectually and cognitively complex opportunities for learning, but those opportunities for learning need to be scaffolded in the appropriate way, because if they are not appropriately scaffolded, according to Stephen Krashen, this could raise one's anxiety level. Okay, so there are a few things that you are going to do in this week's PowerPoint. You will see 3 activities. The first activity, you are going to watch a video of a bilingual child. Now, one of the things I want you to think about this week, and many of you might say, well, I'm not in a bilingual classroom, so what does this have to do with me? But in this week's slides, you'll notice that there are several theories that emphasize the importance of the first language and how that connects to the second language development. You'll be looking at some theories from Jim Cummins. He's known for his model of academic language. And this model of academic language, he has 4 quadrants. These are looking at the level of context we provide and also the level of cognitive demand. According to Jim Cummins, we want our instruction to fall in quadrant B, which is high context, high cognitive demand. Well, what does context mean? Context means that we are literally providing a variety of scaffolds using reading, writing, listening, and speaking to support students' understanding of the content and also to support their language development. So for your first activity, you'll be looking at this bilingual child, and you'll be kind of considering, well, what type of bilingual child is this, and what are the strategies that the parents are using to support this child's bilingual development? The next activity, you'll actually be exploring Jim Cummins' model of academic language, and you'll be looking at those 4 different quadrants, and you'll be looking at several activities and deciding which activity goes into which quadrant. You have quadrant A, you have quadrant B, you have quadrant C, and you have quadrant D. As I said before, we want our instruction to fall in quadrant B, which is high context, high cognitive demand. For the third activity, you will also be continuing to explore another theorist many of you have already heard of, Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen is known for his 5-part theory, which looks at acquisition versus learning, monitor hypothesis, the natural order. In other words, is there a natural progression to the way that children learn language? Now, interestingly enough, we said something that's very important about these new standards. We said according to these new standards, children learn more on a continuum, not necessarily a lockstep, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. However, an important part of Krashen's theory, this natural order, is teacher questioning. So you'll have 2 choices. Your first choice will just be to look at Stephen Krashen's video and to reflect upon it for your activity 3. Your second option for your activity 3 is to actually look at, I'm going to attach what's called the depth of knowledge questioning techniques, but these are specifically designed for English language learners, which is wonderful because they're actually aligned with the new standards. So it actually shows you the questioning learning levels, how they're aligned with Bloom's taxonomy, and also how you need to modify your questioning technique for an emerging, expanding, or bridging students. So you have two options for your activity 3 for this week. And the last part of the slideshow for this week, it mostly asks you to make the connection between theory and practice. Again, I know you all say, oh gosh, this is so theoretical, it's not interesting to me, but it's so important for us to understand why we are doing the best practices that we are doing. Okay, especially as master students, the best practices are important, but also the theoretical and research foundations are important as well. And this week's lecture will lay the theoretical foundation for the rest of the semester as we continue to discuss the best practices. So that is your PowerPoint, and those are the activities for you this week. Again, please make sure that you post your responses to your activities in the forum. There will be a forum available for you. Now, just a few other housekeeping things. Some of you are already thinking about your research projects. You're already thinking about the topics you want to use for your literature review. That's great. If you have not emailed me yet about the topics for your literature review or even think your project, feel free to email me. Also, I know that those of you that are induction, many of you have not written a literature review as of yet. So if you're really struggling, feel free to email me or call me. I also want to remind you that you may submit any of your assignments ahead of time to get feedback from me to make sure that you are on the right track, okay? So again, I want you all to have a great week. I want you to continually to think about what we're talking about in this class, and then as you go into your classrooms and you interact with your students, hopefully this is starting to be on your brain a little bit more. All right, have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.